Alright, heading into round 5 now. And it looks like it's GHOLDENGO up against LOPUNNY. This will be interesting at least. Right, and obviously GHOLDENGO wants to go second to be able to get their first knockout with the Soul Rock. But let's see how it pans out. And obviously LOPUNNY wants to go first to be able to get their setup. Alright. And starting with the Ditto in active spot is really good here, because you can transformative start instantly into a Kangaskhan, or even a Klefki, just to stop Drew Stevenson from getting his setup. This looks like John is just checking which Pokemon he has available, and which of them might be prized. Because like I said, you really want that Kangaskhan in the early games to draw some cards, as well as the Klefki to stop the opponent entirely from setting up. So depending on the Pokemon he chooses, and I think it's going to be the Kangaskhan, to get some more draw on the board, to be able to set up himself. And that's not a bad choice here, because if you can set up the board entirely, and just pop every Dusknoir and land a hit with the Mega Lopunny, you get yourself a very explosive start, and the opponent not a lot to deal with. Looks like Ultra Ball is being used now, discarding Blood Moon and the Budju, obviously to get your first Duskull on the board. Or it might just be the Fanrotom. Fanrotom can get out another Bunnery. So this Ultra Ball, if being used to fetch out the Fanrotom, it might become another Bunnery. But that Fanrotom can only search out Pokemon with 100 HP or less. But it looks like John does decide to go for the Duskull instead. Because also that Fanrotom might be a big target against Solrock's attack if a Lunatone is being benched. And that's what we're seeing right now. Lunatone being benched, that Lunar Cycle ability being used, you can discard a Fighting Energy and draw 3 cards, which is exactly what GHOLDENGO wants here. Looks like there's also a Buddy Poffin in hand, so Drew Stevenson can get himself a setup rolling and search out some Gimmighoul to evolve later turns. And John only managed to find one Duskull, which is huge because there's not a lot of threat going on going into John next turn. Because you already know when one Dusknoir is getting popped, the other Gimmighoul is safe, unless it's getting bossed up by Mega Lopunny EX. So that is something Drew Stevenson has to be aware of happening next turn. And obviously grabbing the double Gimmighoul here. And he is holding on to Secret Box. So Secret Box might become Nestball. Nestball can get yourself the Genesect, and that Genesect can fetch out your GHOLDENGO EX to be able to evolve next turn. Looks like we're having a thorough deck search. And I think what Drew really wants here is to boss up that Bunnery, attach one Fighting Energy to it, and limit John from setting up his board state entirely. Obviously, John has access to the Duskull, which can evolve into Dusknoir, which can pop any Pokemon on Drew's bench, but then you have no setup yourself, and that is not typically what you want here. Because Lopunny is just built to be aggressive and just limit the opponent from setting up. But if you're limited to setting up, then that goes that idea. Alright, and looks like Secret Box is being used here and discarding the Fighting Energy. Okay, but that's interesting because Drew Stevenson is holding on to that last energy. No, it doesn't have an energy in hand, but he has Earthen Vessel. So Earthen Vessel can fetch out another Fighting Energy. You can attach that as a Soul Rock, as well as the Artisan to bench the other Gimme Ghoul, you can use Nestball, like I said, to grab out that Genesect, fetching out more Gholdengos. Alright, there's the double Gholdengo. We see Earthen Vessel discarding the Vitality Band. Obviously, you don't need it in this setup, because everything on John's board is either 70 HP or lower, or just too much to deal with. Right, and there we see, obviously, and we will see the Fighting Energy and the Metal Energy being grabbed. There we go, and a Boss's Orders onto the Bunnery, knocking it out, limiting John from setting up himself. So Drew's already in a good position because there's no threat of a Mega Lopunny going into him next turn. So best thing John can do is just limit Drew from using anything at all. And perhaps being disruptive through the means of Klefki, so Drew cannot draw any more cards, and then with an Iona to boot. But we will see how it pans out here. Looks like John has used Artisan to fetch out Fan Rotom, which is a good choice because that Fan Rotom, like I said, can fetch out more Bunnery. Alright, and we do see a Buddy Poffin in hand. But there's draw being used by the Mega Kangaskhan first. Alright. And it looks like the Nestball and the Ultra Ball being grabbed from the run errands. And I think John really wants another Bunnery here, so he's going to use that Buddy Poffin to grab... Wait, hold on. Why are you not using the Fan Rotom first? So you might just use Buddy Poffin to grab Duskull and perhaps the Klefki? Or perhaps not. You have Jet Energy in hand. You can... Oh, you have Pheasantipity. Alright. So Pheasantipity can grab you more cards. You have one Duskull to evolve with. But there is no Bunnery. Was that other one prized? Because we didn't see the prize cards just yet. Oh, wait. We did see the prize cards. There was Bunnery being prized. Oh, but they did grab the Ino from the Pheasantipity here. So it might just be a Jet into the active spot with the Fan Rotom landing 70 damage, which can be adjusted through the means of Dusclops later on in the game. Alright, and we see an Ultra Ball obviously grabbing the Dusclops. So then John can Ino the Drew Stevenson back to 4 cards even. But you need another Bunnery, so you need your recovery. So that will be good when Ino's eyed up here. So you can grab your first knockout while also disrupting the opponent. Alright. We might just see the Dusclops here. Or the Dusknoir even. Oh, Dusknoir is also going to be good. Right. Dusknoir pop onto the Solrock even. And then forcing Drew to promote the Lunatone. Because otherwise that Fan Rotom is going to get another prize card. Oh, it's going to be on the Gimme. Interesting. Alright. But if John has access to Counter Catcher, he can Counter Catcher up another Gimme Ghoul. Oh, he has Boss's Orders. Alright, so it's not going to be the Ino. So it's going to be Disruption at its finest. Knocking out both Gimme Ghoul, taking 2 prizes in a single turn through the means of Dusknoir and the Fan Rotom. Honestly, I like this play from John. Just getting everything out of your deck, even if you don't have any Bunnery in play. And there is none as well. But if I was Drew, I was going to target down the Mega Kangaskhan because that will put Drew to 1 prize card, or might just go after the Pheasantipity. Because when there is an Ino coming, 2 cards are always better than 1, and limiting John from getting cards in hand next turn through the means of his Pheasantipity, that will put Drew in a very good position. But knocking out that Kangaskhan will also be good, because then John cannot pop any Dusclops or Dusk Noir anymore, and then you can finish the game with Solrock Boss's Orders, right? Alright, we see Artisan being used to grab another Gimmighoul. And do we also already see the Genesect grabbing Gholdengos? Yeah, right. Because it's turned sideways. Alright. So we might see the Evolve on the Gholdengo, but we do need to see an Air Balloon first. Air Balloon to be able to retreat the Solrock, to be able to attack with the Gholdengo, right? We see double Fighting Gong. That grants you 2 more fighting energy, but you have 4 energy in the discard, which you can just get back with the superior energy retrieval. Oh, what's that last card? Is that... No, that's a Bravery Charm. But why would you have a Bravery Charm in the Gholdengo? Right. Right, so we might see... You do need more energy. You need 6 in total, and a Boss's Orders, to get rid of that Kangaskhan. And I didn't quite see the Boss's Orders. Right, another fighting energy there. It's a double Fighting Gong, grabbing double fighting energy. So now Drew is sitting on 4 energy in hand. So he needs 1 more to knock out the Pheasantipity, and he needs 2 more and a Boss's Orders, obviously, to knock out that Mega Kangaskhan. Otherwise, it's just going to be 70 damage knocking out the Fanrotom. Which, in turn, is not a bad idea as well, because you can just hold on to your energies and just wait until you have Boss's Orders to be able to knock out the Mega Kangaskhan for game. Oh, and it is a Bravery Charm. Interesting, though. Right, there's 1 card, and it's the Mega Mawile. So that's not going to do much, so I suppose you just want to attach. Oh, that Mawile is interesting with the Bravery Charm, though, in some instances. Right. Although that Bravery Charm might save the Genesect from being knocked out by Mega Lopunny on future turns, right? So Mega Lopunny can't get a 1-hit knockout and has to get there through damage modifiers through the means of the Dusclops to be able to knock out the Genesect for an easy 2 prizes. Because do note, Mega Lopunny is capped at 230 damage, so it can't just get there and knocking out that Gholdengo without a Dusclops being popped, right? Alright, so we see Runner being used. There is an enriching energy though. Nestball, Jet Energy. Still no recovery from John's side of the board. We see a couple Nestball though. So you can get more Dusclops in play. But do you really want that? Because there's a Gholdengo staring down at you which you can't get rid of. And you don't have an attacker on the board here. Alright, so John is just using Nestball to grab the Latias. To be able to free retreat. Debating the Klefki though. I mean, the Klefki will stop Drew from playing the Lunatone and the Genesect. So that might be disruptive, while John can play the Artisan to get the Klefki, jet it into the active spot, while you have an energy as well to be able to retreat next turn, because obviously they're shutting down your own Latias' ability. And then using an Ino, limiting Drew to 3 prize cards. Alright, John is looking at his Blood Moon, but there's Blood Moon is in the discard pile as well. And you have no recovery going on here. Right, so John's thinking here. I mean, if I were John, I would really grab that Klefki here. Klefki plus a Nino, hoping you get disruption and recovery as well. But debating the Hilda though. Yeah, it's... Oh, wait, but John didn't shuffle his deck. He's playing... He just played the Artisan, not shuffling his deck. Wait, did he? Oh, you need... Alright, so now he has a Night Stretcher to be able to put back the Bunnery into play. Because otherwise... because that last one was prized. Right, so we see the Night Stretcher being used, grabbing it back, and that's just going to be a pass with that Mega Kangaskhan in the active spot. Alright, so Drew only have 4 cards, and John just thinking like, you can't get this knockout. Because when Drew can get that knockout, Drew just won the game, right? Because there's no legacy energy on it, and with Kangaskhan being knocked out, Drew can get 3 prize cards, winning the game entirely. And I like Drew's thinking here because a lot of his key cards are shuffled on the bottom. So now he's using Genesect's ability to shuffle the deck. So I do think jetting Klefki in the active spot was a better play for John to be able to shut down that Genesect and the Lunatone entirely while leaving a single prize Pokemon in the active spot as well. But now John just have this Mega Kangaskhan in the active spot, and when Drew can get there, he just won the game. So don't think that was quite a good play. And there's the Superior Energy Retrieval. Are we there just yet? No, and Arvin can get the other Superior as well. Yeah, we got there. Yeah, I didn't like that play from John. Alright, there's the Air Balloon. But he already has his retreat. Yeah, there's the Superior Energy Retrieval. Double Retrieval into the knockout on the Mega Kangaskhan. Because he only needs 6 energies, right? And there's the 6 for the knockout. Boom. See, I didn't quite get that play from John. I think it was better to jet the Klefki in the active spot, shutting down the Genesect and the Lunatone entirely, while leaving the single prize Pokemon in the active spot. You just gave Drew the win. I mean, in my opinion, you didn't need that second Duskull at all. I think it was better to Artisan for the Klefki, jet it in the active spot, and then use the Ino. But then again, that was the debate. Right? I didn't think he shuffled his deck after the use of the Artisan. But yeah, now we see Drew really piloting this Gholdengo very, very well. And just profiting of John not having a real setup to be able to line up the prize cards just so perfectly to be able to win the game with a 3 prize knockout. Yeah, there we saw the Superiors being used to get that big knockout on the Kangaskhan. Boom. There we see Make It Rain for 300 damage. Alright, so we're going into game 2 here. But I do wonder, I thought Lopunny was being better into Gholdengo, right? But Drew Stevenson playing that Bravery Charm has put him in a better position against the Lopunny matchup. Because like I said, the easiest thing Lopunny can do is just knock out the Genesect for 2 prize cards. Then you have to pop a Dusclops to be able to knock out a Gholdengo. And that puts you back even further, because then Gholdengo needs 7 energies to be able to knock out the Mega Lopunny to be able to close out the game. And because you need a lot of damage modifiers, it's not a good matchup overall. Right, we see the promotion of the Gimmighoul there. Obviously not opting to promote the Genesect, because if John can get a really good setup, that Genesect might be stuck in the active spot as well. Alright, we might see... I think John had a mulligan there, reshuffling his deck. But it's just so much to deal with, right? Because if Lopunny is going very, very well, and he's able to shut down the opponent from playing anything, you know, through the means of Klefki, or perhaps through the means of the Budju, you can really hope to shut down GHOLDENGO entirely, right? Just as Karis Jones did. Alright, we're going to see the prize cards now. Alright, so we see both ace-specs being prized for both players. That is very unfortunate. Oh, and it did opt to promote the Genesect. Interesting. Oh, but you hold on to an air balloon. That's good. Right, so you can always air balloon retreat into something like the Solrock, and you have double fighting gong. Alright, that's enough for Drew. Let's go back to John. John starting with a Buddy Puff in here. So opting double Bunnery, or perhaps Fanrotum Duskull, because that Fanrotum can get you the Bunneries automatically, right? Alright. But it looks like he's eyeing up the Duskull and the Bunnery. Or double Duskull, right? Oh, is that Fanrotum in hand? I didn't quite see it. Right, shuffling the deck here. But why are you shuffling so much if you're going back in with the Fanrotum? Right? Or perhaps you want to draw first, so you might just not need to use the Fanrotum. Yeah, it is in hand. Alright. Benching the Fanrotum. But that draw from Kangaskhan was good, right? So you wanted to draw first, because if he drew into Bunnery, you might just nest ball for the other Bunnery, leaving that Fanrotum out of play entirely, leaving spots on the bench for other Pokemon. So I get the draw before the benching of the Fanrotum. Alright, and that is a very good setup. That's what you like to see here as a Lopunny player. And whatever Drew puts down, if you have a Boss's Orders in hand with a Jet Energy, or perhaps if you find the Latias, you can free retreat this Kangaskhan, and that is going to be very, very disruptive against Drew. Alright. But Drew also having a good start. We did see the double fighting gong in hand, so he can get the double, the Solrock and Lunatone combination to be able to get the setup rolling, right? And then if Drew manages to find a fighting energy and the Boss's Orders, then there goes the Bunnery as well, just like we saw last game even. Alright, he's just checking out the deck to be able to think if he can pull the combination off. Alright, he's noting down his prize cards. Obviously you see that pain cards not being in there, and that's going to be huge, because if you draw into that secret box, then there's your entire setup. Alright, and now we see his setup. And obviously grabbing the Solrock here, using the other one to grab the Lunatone. And what we see in hand, so we see Earthen Vessel, we see Air Balloon, so that Genesect can retreat into Solrock. And if we don't see a Boss's Orders, we might even chip in some damage onto that Mega Kangaskhan. So GHOLDENGO doesn't need as much energies to be able to knock it out for 3 prize cards. So that is good as well, right? But a lot is going to be dependent on this lunar cycle. Alright. We see a very big lunar cycle here. If Drew gets the boss, we might see a knockout on the Bunnery, and there is no boss, but there is but the Buddy Puffin, because we didn't have any Gimme Goal on the board, right? This is just godsend. Right, there's the double Gimme. But having only... Oh, there's another Gimme in hand. Alright, so that's good. We can bench the third Gimme, attach Solrock, and just chip in some damage against the Kangaskhan. Oh, we see the Boss's Orders onto a Duskull. Oh, I like this play as well, right? Because now John can't get as aggressive as he would like to. Because otherwise, he can go Candy Dusknoir, getting rid of double Gimmighoul, and then perhaps jet the Bunnery, the Mega Lopunny in the active spot with the boss's orders to be able to knock out that third Gimmighoul. So don't hate this play from Drew as well. So now John might get the Mega Lopunny, and the best thing John can hope for is knock out one Gimmighoul and then knock out the Genesect with a Mega Lopunny. But that is still a 3 prize turn. Alright, debating... Oh, choosing the Latias from the nest ball. Obviously, because you need to get that Mega Kangaskhan out of the active spot to be able to get a knockout here. Alright, will we see the pieces here? Mega Kangaskhan was already used. Now we see the pops of the Dusknoir, giving John the first prize card here. Was that a Lily? It is a Lily's Determination. Right, there's a Night Stretcher. Getting the Dusclops back. Right, and an Ino to boot. Because John knew there were Gholdengo in Drew's hands. But then again, the Genesect can already grab them out next turn. But you're limiting Drew to 4 cards in hand. And I think he had 6, right? Ooh, so John used the Ino, hoping it would have a Mega Lopunny and an Energy. But there is nothing. Nothing in John's hands after the Ino. I mean, he did have Hilda, but he already used Ino, so you can't use the Hilda to grab up the Mega Lopunny. And that is very unfortunate. And that just cost him a very, very hard turn here. And Drew is just setting up so well, nestballing for a Pheasantipity to grab even more cards. So the best thing Drew can hope for here is getting another knockout on that Duskull, limiting John from having a lot of disruption going on. Right, so we see the flip the script. We see the Fighting Gong being grabbed. So you can fetch out another energy, thinning out the deck even. Alright, we see the Gholdengo being used. And there's an Earthen Vessel to boot. So that's already 3 energies you can thin out. Then using the Lunar Cycle, that will be big, enhancing your chances to find the boss's orders to be able to knock out the second Duskull. Right, we see Lunatone being used first. That was Arven, Superior, and a Mawile. That Mawile is not useful in this situation, so you might just Earthen Vessel it away. But opting the energy is also a good choice here. Because opting the energy, having another target in the discard pile for Superior Energy Retrieval to get back. So don't quite hate that as well. Alright, Gholdengo. Right, so do we see the attachments onto the Gholdengo? Might as well, right? Because there's no one-hit knockout happening onto the Gholdengo, so that energy is quite safe. Yeah, I would Fighting Gong and Earthen Vessel before Lunatone, right? To be able to enhance the chance to fight... Oh, yeah, and retreating into the Gholdengo gets you your 4th energy in the discard. Is that the boss's orders? Did we see the... We see the boss, alright. Is that going to be a knockout on the Kangaskhan? No, right. We have 6 energies. But 6 energies are going to be enough to knock out the Kangaskhan. And limiting John from having any draw on board is going to be quite good. Right, it's going to... But you're very susceptible to Iono next turn. And that's something you have to debate for Drew as well. Because if there's a Klefki coming, like I mentioned last game, sorry. Then that's going to be very disruptive. But for now, that Duskull can't pop as well. So you can win the game with a... Oh no. So he evolved, right. So that is good for John. Because otherwise, Drew could just win the game with Boss's Order Solrock, right? But obviously that Gholdengo has to retreat. But with 2 Gholdengo in play and the Pheasantipity and the Lunatone in play, there's just no way you can get through this. Whilst also having only a damage output of 230. And we see Hilda being used, grabbing Mega Lopunny, and obviously the Jet Energy, to be able to jet it in the active spot. Yeah, we finally see the Mega Lopunny come into play here. John just whiffed any opportunities to get that Lopunny, and that's just very unfortunate. But I don't think John can deal with this Gholdengo right now. Unless he has access to something like the Defiance Band, right? If you're behind on prize cards. Yeah, I don't think John can deal with that Mega Lopunny. Alright, there's a Jamming Tower. And a 230. Gale Thrust for 230 damage. Leaving their Gholdengo with only 30 HP left. But I think Drew has... you have Secret Box. Yeah, that's going to be game. Because you could just fetch out Boss's Orders. And just throw away 2 energies to close out the game. Oh, that's so unfortunate for John here. But that's another showcase on how destructive Gholdengo really is in this format. Like, I don't think anything can stop it. It's just way too strong, it goes way too fast, so it just overruns setup decks just because of the sheer aggression it has.